Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. Let's start today's video off with a recent update from Mr. Olympia Derek Lunsford. I believe we talked about the screen grabs from this video a few days ago, but since Derek actually posted the video, I figured we would review it. And the champ does look pretty good. Again, the biggest highlight of Derek's physique this offseason for me has been the quads, and I hope that Derek will maintain a lot of this size in the quads once he dies down for the Mr. Olympia, which we are about 17 weeks away from. Now this could be a little bit early to predict, but 17 weeks out, I'm not really seeing much detail in the upper body of Derek, so it could be a genetic thing, or again, Derek still needs more time to build that muscle maturity. But again, the champ looks great and he's in some pretty good lighting. Now in the next update of the day, probably the most impressive update of this video, Samson Dauda's latest back update. And without a doubt, this back has 100% improved. And similar to what I said about the quads of Derek Lunsford, Samson has to maintain this going into this year's Mr. Olympia. And as we all know, Samson Dauda was being trained by Milos, but they split after this year's Arnold Classic. I'm not sure where you guys stand about Samson's wife coaching him, but I still think we are going to see an improved version of Samson at this year's Olympia. And taking a look at this back update, we're probably going to see an all-time best Samson Dauda at this year's Olympia. This guy is seriously trying to move up from that third place spot. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about this update? And let's switch over to the latest update of the mutant Nick Walker, who is currently in Florida with his coach Matt Jansen. I'm gonna assume that Nick is probably gonna be in Florida until this year's Olympia, which again is a great idea. I know there was a little bit of worry surrounding Nick after the Pittsburgh Pro guest posing, but I'm pretty sure that only motivated Nick. Since everyone wanted to highlight the midsection, I'm pretty sure Nick is gonna make sure to have that in check at the Mr. Olympia. He was good at the New York Pro. But looking at the condition that Nick is in now, I think this year's Olympia prep should be pretty smooth for him. Now let's switch over to a recent update of Hunter Labrada, who recently announced he is under 13 weeks out. And looking at Hunter's physique, he looks ahead of schedule. I would not be surprised if Hunter tries to jump into a show before 13 weeks out, but Hunter does look pretty good in this update. This offseason, Hunter got to his biggest, also his leanest, and was able to keep the midsection in check pretty much the entire time. This back has improved. Still not the best lower back, lower lat insertions, but upper back of Hunter is very, very thick. Big Ramy also didn't really have the best lower lat ladder in his career, but had a very thick upper back. But I'm excited to see what Hunter Labrada is going to bring to the stage. And I don't really have any critiques about this update. Hunter's midsection just doesn't look very pleasing to the eye. I'm not saying he has a bubble gut, but again, not very pleasing. Now let's switch over to a recent update of Michal Krizo at only 3 days out from the Pro Classic and take a look at the delts on this guy. And for some reason, Krizo posted this video and it wasn't even taken at a very flattering angle. But I'm pretty sure we all have Michal Krizo coming into this weekend's Pro Classic and walking home with the win. Now speaking of the Pro Classic, let's talk about the latest update of William Bonac. Now, I've got some mixed opinions about Bonac. In the comments of this post, a lot of people are like, are we counting Bonac out? Bonac is going to be top 2, possibly even win the show. Now, with all due respect to William Bonac, taking a look at this update, William looks seriously downsized to me. I wouldn't go as far as to say 20 pounds, but maybe 10 or 15 pounds of muscle. That's my personal opinion about what I'm looking at. I do believe we're going to see a very good bodybuilder in very good condition, but I don't think we're going to see a good version of Bonac at the Pro Classic. That probably does sound disrespectful, but again, with all due respect. Now, I did want to talk about this guy who is going to be my dark horse for this weekend's Pro Classic. So you guys are currently looking at Sasan Heirati, and some of you guys may actually be familiar with his physique because I heard that he competed before, but I got into the sport of bodybuilding in about 2020 or 2021, so I've never covered a show that he competed in. But looking at this guy's updates on Instagram, if he can bring anything close to this on stage at the Pro Classic, watch out for this guy. What do you guys think about this physique? And let's switch over to a recent update of James Hollingshead, and I honestly think this is possibly the best I've ever seen James look, at least over the past 2 years. Credit to his coach, Boss of Outlaw. And James said recently he's currently in a rest period and he isn't pushing anything. So I'm not sure exactly what that means, if he's talking about gear or he's talking about training or talking about both. But either way, James looks incredible and he's supposed to be on a rest period right now. And he said him and Boss of Outlaw may do a show this year. And let's switch over to Classic Physique. I wanted to talk about this crazy update of Robert Timms, and this was actually from the morning of the Oklahoma Pro, which he won. And in this image, he was actually 2 pounds over the weight. But besides that, this guy just looks crazy. The conditioning from top to bottom, and guess who he's coached by? AJ Sims. AJ knows how to get anyone fat free. Just ask Hassan Mustafa. But seeing him this conditioned, knowing he's 2 pounds over the weight limit, it's gonna be tough for Robert to add size to the legs. But he looks crazy. Now let's go ahead and wrap up today's video here with the archive of the day. You guys let me know in the comment section below, who is this legendary bodybuilder. And as always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. And if you have not done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that is it. I'm out.